morning, and it's time to wake up, Waco. I'm your host, Ben Cody. Today we've got a very special guest for you. Fielding Montgomery may be the only Iowa State fan to attend Baylor University. We're going to talk to him this weekend about our upcoming homecoming game and how he thinks things are going to go. First question right off the bat, Fielding. I think everyone's dying to know. Are you Birds or are you Cyclones?
We are Cyclones. Back in the 30s, Iowa State was the Cardinals, but then they beat Minnesota so bad that a newspaper said that Minnesota was struck by a cyclone. The school liked it, became the Cyclones, but they didn't know how to stuff a cyclone and make it into a mascot. So they kept the Cardinal mascot, but we are the Cyclones.
I noticed you almost said Iowa there. Is that just because you have such a supreme hatred of Iowa?
Yeah, anytime I can mention Iowa State beating Iowa, it's a great thing to mention. There's a lot of hatred there between Iowa and Iowa State.
Could you compare that maybe to the fans back here at home who don't know so much about it? What rivalry would that compare to?
Yeah, sure. It's very much, it's interesting because Iowa and Iowa State are the only two big schools in the state of Iowa, so you're on one side or the other, whereas in Texas, there's like A&M and Texas, Baylor, TCU, and stuff like that. So it's very much divided, but it's maybe not quite as intense as Baylor, TCU right now because the success on the field hasn't quite been there.
All right, so upcoming this weekend, Iowa State plays Baylor, homecoming, big game. If you think there's at all a chance for Iowa to beat Iowa State, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My apologies. To beat Baylor, how would they do it, hypothetically?
I think, one, the weather would have to play some effect, slow down Baylor, make some messy turnovers, things like that. Two, I think on offense, Mike Warren, one of the nation's leading rushers as a freshman for Iowa State, is critical. He's been tearing it up. I think defensively, Dale Pearson, he calls himself Sack Mamba. He's been getting a ton of sacks this season, was leading the nation, dropped off a little bit in Big 12 play, but he's been very good. Sacked Trevon Boykin last week. Watch out for him.
You heard it here, Waco. Watch out for the Sack Mamba. If you could poach one player from Baylor's team to play on Iowa State, who would that be?
I'd have to go with Corey Coleman. We need another receiver threat to complement Alan Lazard. He gets double-teamed too much because he's by far and away the best receiver on Iowa State. I think someone like Corey Coleman would be a great addition.
All right, well, score prediction for this weekend. How do you think it's going to shake out?
I'm going to go with 63-24 Baylor. I think Iowa State hangs close for a little bit, but then Baylor blows it away.
You heard it here first. Baylor, Iowa State, 63-24. Bears versus the Cyclone Birds. It's going to be a big one. We'll see y'all next week on Wake Up Waco, where we'll be talking about the next game to come. Thanks for joining us.